I am going to the ministry as a deputy minister to assist my minister to deliver on the vision of the president. And that is what I am going to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So as a follow-up, how do you intend to support your minister to ensure that whilst empowering the military to engage in certain businesses, they do not cross the line into to the extent that may become a threat to the democracy of this country?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I am going to the ministry to assist the minister to deliver on the president's vision. And that's exactly what I'm going there to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The president yesterday, in the message on the State of the Nation, indicated a bold announcement that national service personnel are going to be given military training. In your briefing, have you obtained how much that enterprise may cost the state and how sustainable that may be?
Mr. Chairman, no. I have not come across any costing with regards to this particular project. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And as a follow-up, well, once you haven't, in all fairness, you haven't obtained a briefing on that, I'll have to skip to my last question. Given your prior background, as you enumerated, having been a teacher at some point and dovetailing that into education, how do you see the recent status of the military training institution having attained the charter status and now having become full-fledged university of their own, the Defense University? How do you see that position, giving gravitas to enhance the status of the Defense University as a regional institution that can build capacity of both civilians and uniformed personnel in the SAM region?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think that that's a very good development because for the Ghana Armed Forces to function effectively, there must be training, effective training, in order that the men, as we have, will be up to date with current trends of threats across the globe. And so I think that what you have made known in your question is a very, very positive development. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I wish you all the best. Godspeed.
Thank you. I'll give the floor to James Agalga, Honorable.
Mr. Brogya Genfi, congratulations. You and I have come a long way. And so I'm very excited about your nomination. That said, Brogya, I want to ask you a question which is in the context of civil-military relations. A few years ago, Major Mahama was brutally murdered by a mob, and may the soul of Major Mahama rest in peace. Then fast forward to 2023 thereabout, another soldier was murdered at a shaman. Following the murder of the soldier, some elements drawn from the armed forces stormed a shaman and brutally assaulted anybody who came in sight. Many civilians were injured in the process. These unfortunate happenings have deepened mistrust between the military on the one hand and the civilian populace. Now, when you get to the Ministry of Defense, what would you do by way of support to the substantive minister to promote good civil-military relations? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I believe that the civil population have high respect for the Ghana Armed Forces. And I think that there exists that relationship with the civil population. However, the isolated, unfortunate incidents, as you have enumerated, are things that we must work at in order to reduce that to the barest minimum. I am going to assist my minister to encourage more civil military engagement. The ministry can engage with the NCCE to have education on the primary role and the respect that we must have for our security institutions. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to the ministry to assist my minister, who is my boss, to work at reducing those isolated incidents. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Nominee. My second question, let me give you the background. In 2015, an ambitious project was launched by government which was aimed at expanding our armed forces. Now, as part of the program for expansion, our armed forces were supposed to, in terms of numbers, be increased from whatever number it was at the time to at least 50,000 personnel. Now, there was supposed to be a corresponding inflation in ranks to the extent that at least Ghana could now have a 4-star general. Honorable Brogya, as we speak, though the expansion program has started, we are nowhere near achieving the targeted 50,000 personnel that was envisaged. But the former president, in his last State of the Nation address, announced the promotion of the Chief of the Defense Staff to the rank of 4-star general. Then the service chiefs, of the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force were promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General or its equivalent, thus putting the cat before the donkey. Honorable Brogya, when you are approved, what would you do about this situation where the cat has been placed before the donkey?
Thank you very much, Honorable James Agalga. Your answer to the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to the ministry to assist my minister to deliver on the President's vision. Whatever it is that we have to do in order to compensate for the gap created, I'm going to assist my minister for us to achieve that. Thank you.
Any further question?
Yes. Honorable Brogya, at the personal level, what type of armed forces would you want to assist your minister to, leave behind when you eventually leave the ministry? What would you want to be remembered for as the Deputy Minister for the Defense, after you have served? what legacies would you want to leave behind when giving the nod in support of your minister?
Mr. Chairman, I want to be part of the success of my minister, working towards achieving the vision of the president. I hope that we will leave behind an armed forces that is ready for combat, well equipped and tooled to face any external aggression. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I will proceed to give the floor to Kofi Amankwa-Menu. Honorable Kofi Amankwa-Menu.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Congratulations, Honorable Nominee. And let me also take this opportunity to welcome the chiefs from Ashanti region. Nananum, you are welcome. Honorable Nominee, my first question has to do with the Afari Hospital. You are going to take over from where I left off. We know the pressure on Komfo-Anokye, and one of the hospitals to ease the pressure on Komfo-Anokye is Afari, which is dear to the heart of many. But I believe that by way of briefing, you know the problems associated with Afari. What are you going to do differently to ensure that we get this hospital in operation as early as practicable?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Afari Military Hospital is one project that is very dear to the heart of this government. And His Excellency the President has demonstrated that when he last visited Ashanti region, he spoke about the project. My yet-to-be boss, by the grace of God, if this committee recommends for my approval, has also visited the hospital recently. And that shows the commitment that this government have towards that project. Just yesterday, His Excellency appeared before Parliament, and in the State of the Nation address, he reiterated his desire to ensure that Afari Military Hospital is completed with speed. And so I will be at the ministry to assist my minister to complete that project. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My second question has to do with DHOC. Currently, the Ghana Armed Forces, by way of DHOC, is involved in the assembly of armored vehicles at Burma Camp, armored bullion vans for the banks. I'm pretty sure you are aware of that. There are a lot of things we are doing. When I say we, the Ghana Armed Forces is doing to take the Army's overdependence on central government. I think my colleague asked, was looking at the pros and the cons. What new thing do you bring on board to ensure that DHOC, as we have it now, is able to do that which is expected to make the Army, take the overdependence of the Army on central government?
Mr. Chairman, the Defense Industries Holding Company is something that was started by the late President Mills when he engaged with private sector to do the Kumasi shoe factory, and successive governments have built on it. I think that it is something that we need to continue to do, only that I believe that we have to streamline and refocus all the projects that DHOC is involved in. I will be at the ministry to assist my minister to do exactly that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, as a follow-up, going to be the Deputy Minister for Defense, you are going to be the board chair of DHOC. I think that is part of your portfolio. One advice, you mentioned the shoe factory. One advice I will give is that you look critically at the constitution of the directorship of the shoe factory to make sure it works. I'll go to my third and final question. It has to do with housing. The NPP government embarked upon the provision of housing in all the garrisons of the Ghana Armed Forces. But we all know that housing is still a problem with the Ghana Armed Forces. Nobody is happy to see our men in uniform always trekking to Burma camp and other places to work. As Deputy Minister who is going to be in charge of Project Implementation Unit of the Ghana Armed Forces, what new thing do you bring to ensure that your government will keep providing the accommodation that is so needed for the use of our men and women in uniform?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, decent accommodation for our men in uniform is very important because we all know that it goes down to morale when our men feel that they are not given decent accommodation. It dials down the spirit. And so I think that all the projects that are at various levels of completion must be completed. And if possible, others also started. Because, Mr. Chairman, yesterday, the President mentioned that there's a housing deficit of about 17,000 for the Ghana Armed Forces. And I think that we must work to address that. And I'll be available to assist my minister do exactly that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, may I take this opportunity with your kind permission to congratulate the nominee and to give the nominee just two pieces of advice. Mr. Nominee, if you are given the approval and you go to the Ministry of Defense, have it at the back of your mind that you're going to work with professionals. The soldiers are professionals. Have it at the back of your mind that you're going to work in a ministry where structures really do work. First advice, Mr. Nominee, have a very good relationship with your minister. Let your minister it's very important. Secondly, seeing Nananom behind you as an indication that His Royal Majesty Otumfuo is here. You have a responsibility to yourself. You have a responsibility to make Otumfuo proud. You have a responsibility to work to make sure that you advance the Ghana Armed Forces. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Bawa Brahma, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The youth presidents, I congratulate you on this noble achievement. And mine is just, of late, you see soldiers being deployed in operations that are meant for the police, i.e., if you look at election security and you look at certain operations that have gone bad with the involvement of the military, if I say so, I cast my mind back to Ejura, what happened, where we lost about 3 people and got others maimed. So what will be your advice to your minister so that at least the soldiers could be restricted to their traditional duties of at least protecting the nation against external aggression?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we all know that the Ghana Police Service has the primary duty to maintain law and order within the borders of our country. However, the Ghana Armed Forces also has some responsibility towards maintaining the territorial integrity of our country. And so anything that has the likelihood to degenerate and affect the territorial integrity of our country, the military may be called in. I agree with you that the traditional duties of maintaining law and order must be left for the Ghana Police Service to handle. And the military only comes in when there's a need to restore. And so I'm going to the ministry to assist my minister, and my minister is on record before this committee that he's going to ensure that the military is only brought in when the situation is beyond the control of the Ghana Police Service. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, that will be all for me, except to wish my brother the best of luck, and also just to admonish him that at least I know he's a humble person, and that he will cope on very well with his sector minister. May Allah be with you, my brother.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you. It's now the turn of Honorable Haji Aladi Ayamba.
Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations, my brother.
Thank you, Haji.
I've known you all this while. You've always worked hard. And that has earned you this nomination. I hope, just as one of my colleagues has said, you are going to put that effort when you get there so that we will achieve our aim. And when I say our aim, is not only now, 100 years to come. And we will continue to be there. It will all depend on your hard work. However, those you are going to deal with are professionals, and professionals for that matter in uniform. A uniform that wherever they appear, no matter what good deed they are coming with, people already have the perception that, what are these people looking for? Always the negative thing is portrayed about them. And sometimes it's not helpful. What will you do to assist your minister so that you can bring that civil and those uniformed people a good relationship and rapport, so that at the end of the day we will see them as persons who are there to support us and not people who are always there to maybe manhandle us or something of that sort? What will you do?
Mr. Chairman, the Ministry of Defense has both members of the Ghana Armed Forces and civilians working together. And so going to the ministry, I have it at the back of my mind that working with officers, senior officers, and other rank, all involved in the activities of the ministry, we need to have mutual respect. And Mr. Chairman, by way of information, I come from a home of a soldier. My grandfather was a soldier during the Gold Coast. He was a member of the 7th Battalion, the West African Frontiers. He fought in the Second World War. He was a sergeant. And so he instilled that kind of discipline in the family, and all of us benefited from it. So I have that at the back of my mind, and I also take a cue from your advice. Thank you.
My second question. Sometimes past, it has come out that soldiers go out and then sometimes they go out of their way, brutalizing, causing fear and panic. Sometimes you hear some of these things and they are not palatable. For me, I'm always hurt because sincerely, where I found myself is not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a soldier, but my parents refused me. And I'm still not happy that I haven't been one. So when I hear people saying all kinds of things against them, I'm not happy. But some of them too go out of their way. What will you do to ensure that at least wherever they get to, they should try to calm down and listen or find out before they take action? Because it's not the use of the rod always that would make things good. What will you do to enable that happen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I already answered a question that relates to what Honorable Hajia has raised. But I also believe that we can deepen the civilian-military relationship by increasing the activities that brings civilians and our men in uniform for a good cause. We are able to, as civilians, we're able to access military hospitals. I have friends whose parents or have no relation in the military but attended military schools, armed forces schools and all that. So we need to do a bit more. And I even think that DIHOC is also another way of engaging that partnership between the private persons and the military. So I'll be available to assist my minister to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, last but not the least, when you go to the army and you take the numbers in general, the number of women are very few. I know normally they will say, oh, they haven't shown interest. They are not there. They are this, they are that. No. This time, we have an act, we have the law. The law says that you people should support. Because you are a deputy, that's what I'm saying you should support. If it were the minister, I would have told him. You people should support so that at least the 30% we get it. I am in no way saying that you should throw away, because the military is a place where you cannot just take maybe a sick person and go and say you should go and do training. I know that. What will you do in your own way if you have the opportunity to support your minister so that at least, basically, all women in the country who may apply to get into the military are taken, so that we'll be able to get that 30% from the military?
Mr. Chairman, once that's a legal requirement, I'm going to assist my minister to work towards that. And I think that we must also understand the special needs of women and the support system that must be created for them. And so I'm going to assist my minister to achieve that target. Ajay, thank you.
Thank you too for thanking me. I wish you all the best. And then I will say, work hard, and inshallah, we shall get there. As for the signature, I won't give it to you.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, it's now the turn of Honourable Roxanne Nelson. Eche Kwame Dapamofo.
Chairman, thank you very much. Minuya.
Yes, leader.
Ekwaba.
Major also leader.
Your Excellency, John Dramani Mahama was with us yesterday to deliver a statement on the state of affairs. And in doing so, he said specifically that the mode for our national service will change and such that we'll introduce military training for them. It's a policy I find favor with. Will you consider, as deputy to your boss, rolling out this as soon as possible?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I will support my minister to do that. Thank you.
The teaming youth will be looking up to you to do this. Chairman, with this, I thank you for the opportunity, and once more, congratulations, my brother. We have your back.
Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we may have to take the ranking member out of 10. From their side, he's last to speak, but because of a very important engagement he's having at 5 o'clock, we may have to give him the floor now to ask his questions. Honorable ranking member, you have the floor.
Honorable nominee, in 2018, you sued the government over an agreement with the United States of America, a military base in our country. You confirm being the plaintiff in the suit?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
The time you issued the writ, or you caused your lawyers to issue the writ, had you read the said agreement? In all sincerity.
Mr. Chairman, I had an idea about the content at the time.
Honorable nominee, before you issue a writ questioning an agreement, you as the one pursuing a legal relief should have read in full to convince yourself that the details are not in the best interest of the country. And my question to you is that, had you any opportunity to read in detail? Just be honest with the facts.
Mr. Chairman, I had read the agreement. Maybe not in detail, but I had read the document.
So, in your reading of the agreement, what did you find?
Mr. Chairman, I found the agreement between the United States government and the government of Ghana on military cooperation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I don't get it. I'm saying, you said when you read, what did you find?
Mr. Chairman, one of the things that I identified with the agreement was that it was not signed. There was no signatories to the agreement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Did you go to court because of the lack of signatories to the agreement or the content of the agreement?
Mr. Chairman, the lack of signatories was one of the grounds that I challenged that agreement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, do you immediately recollect the signatories but not the content of the agreement?
Mr. Chairman, I'm saying that the agreement was unsigned and presented to Parliament. And I, in my reading of Article 75, I believe so, that an executed agreement shall be presented to Parliament. And so, per my understanding, an executed agreement should have signatories indicating the agreement. And so that was one of the grounds challenging the procedure in presenting the agreement before Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
At the time you were doing your service in Parliament, or you were working in Parliament?
Mr. Chairman, I don't remember exactly the month it was, yes. I did my service in Parliament the latter part of 2018. I may have to check. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And what was the outcome of the case?
Mr. Chairman, the Supreme Court ruled that an agreement between two countries presented, in the case of Ghana, presented to Parliament for ratification does not necessarily require signatories, and that interpreting that signatories must be on may be a narrow and strictest view in interpreting the Constitution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You have a document with you, a 2-page publication.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Can you are familiar with that document?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I remember. Not the document, but I remember a story like that.
Okay. Can you read the content?
Mr. Chairman, the document has a heading, Graphic Online. And the headline story is NDC Youth Organizer disqualified for forgery of signatures. And it comes down, story written by Daniel K. Kenu. And it goes, Mr. Chairman, should I read the content?
So basically, you were disqualified in your primaries because of those allegations, correct?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so why were you disqualified in your primaries?
Mr. Chairman, I was never disqualified. I contested and won the parliamentary primaries and represented my party in the 2016 elections.
So what do you say to that publication?
Mr. Chairman, it's a false publication. It has no merit, and even the fact it does not support exactly what.
Check the date of the publication.
So the date is September 23rd, 2015.
So what was published by Graphic Online, which you have with you, is false?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. It's
did
false.
Did you rebut it? Did you write a rejoinder?
Mr. Chairman, I did. In fact, this is the first time I'm seeing this story, but it was reported in the news that I had been disqualified, and I responded to it, I refuted it, I supported it with pictures when I submitted my nomination, and I went into the contest and won that primaries.
Okay. So, since you rebutted it in a statement or interview, I think I would leave it there. But just to bring clarity, did you put out a statement to rebut this false publication, or did you grant an interview to rebut this publication?
Mr. Chairman, I granted interviews to rebut the publication. Thank you.
Then in November 2024, you are quoted to have alleged that the MPP was training Delta Force militants at the Bondasi military camp, which was a facility we had with the support from the U.S. government. Upon raising these concerns, you also wrote an open letter to the United States Embassy, suggesting that such activities could undermine the upcoming elections. First, did you write to the U.S. Embassy on this matter?
No, Mr. Chairman. It was a Facebook post. It was like an open...
So that's what, yes, I've referred to it as an open letter. So you did?
Yes.
Okay.
If it's in reference to
that
post, yes. But I didn't write any formally.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The emphasis here is an open letter. So it was on your Facebook wall.
Yes,
correct?
Mr. Chairman.
Now, the allegation itself, you had a basis for it, that indeed it was a military, the MPP Delta Force militants were being trained at Bondasi military camp. Did you have a basis? Was there some evidence of that training, or it was a political statement? Because I can understand that it was in November, and in November we're all in the heat of the elections. Could it have been a political statement as part of strategy to knock off your opponent, or it was based on some verifiable facts, evidence of actual training and all?
Mr. Chairman, it was based on some information that had come to the attention of the directorate which I work with.
Now you are going into a very sensitive area. You see how posterity deals with us as political actors. Now you are going to be there wearing that shoe, that sensitive shoe. Tell us, did you verify that information prior to you putting it out?
Mr. Chairman, as you rightly stated, it was in the heat of the campaign. And so once that disturbing information was received, I thought that I should make it public in order that if there was anything like that, it could be stopped. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Having come to terms with the fact that indeed you did not validate the information, neither did you verify same, what have you to say to the people of Ghana in respect of that discretion you exercise?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we all operate in this space, and we are all humans. We may get it wrong sometimes. And so, even though I did not pursue the matter again or have any rebuttals, once I did not have physical evidence of NPP Delta Force vigilantes training at the Bondasi, I think that going forward, we need to cross-check and recheck information before we put it out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. Again, you remember that somewhere in October, there was this issue of vacant seats in Parliament, You remember that issue?
Mr. Chairman, October last year.
That is so.
Yes, yes, I remember.
And you recall the Speaker's opinion became a subject matter of a Supreme Court suit by my very self. You remember?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that you were the applicant in that case.
I was a plaintiff applicant.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
A
Chairman.
plaintiff applicant. I mean, just for purpose of education. I invoked the original jurisdiction of the court and then made an application for some interim reliefs on the back of the main issue. Now, did you comment publicly on the outcome of the case?
Mr. Chairman, it's possible because I'm an activist, so I...
Honorable nominee, thus far, you have been straight on the issues. And this approach will help this engagement. You are now entering a sensitive area. And I will not begrudge you. It's not a matter of it is possible. I'm asking you that did you write on this matter after the Supreme Court ruled? Let's be very fair.
Mr. Chairman, I think so.
Right. Now, you are a law student. You are studying for your LLB. And you know that the judiciary has its independence. Of course, you can question the independence of the judiciary based on evidence. Do you think that it was appropriate for you to have written that because you believe that part of the CJ is from Winneba, and the fact that I am the MP for Winneba, you were therefore questioning the justice delivery in the matter? Do you think that it was very fair and appropriate, those comments that came from you in a Facebook post?
Mr. Chairman, I remember that Facebook post, and I think that I was trying to generate discussion and have people talk about it. In the post, I hardly made conclusions. I was trying to put facts and leave it for the general public to discuss it. I don't think that I impugned any ill motive at yourself or the Chief Justice. And as you rightly said, as somebody who is crawling at the law, hardly will I engage in that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I would want you to freshen your memory of the exact words you used in the post. I want Chairman to review your post before we bring it to you, and it normally will require his leave, so I want to follow that due process. All right, thank you. Yes, please, can you read aloud the very post you made, the content, please?
Mr. Chairman, this is a post I made on the 20th of October 2024. I posted, "Is this true?" with 3 question marks. And I said, "Facts, not emotions. No, the JSC who sat on Friday to injunct an action that had already taken effect. These justices were all appointed to the Supreme Court by one person, outgoing President Akufo-Addo. 1. Gertrude Saki Tokono, JSC 2019. Mariama Owusu, JSC 2019. Ernest Geu, JSC 2022. Yao Asaridakun, JSC 2023. Kwame Adibu Asiedu, JSC 2022. Another fact of notice is that the case was filed on Friday, called on same Friday, moved on same Friday, and detailed ruling given same Friday. Also note that the plaintiff is a minority leader and MP for Efutu, Winneba in brackets. If you care, confirm for yourself that the presiding justice hailed from Winneba. You may form your own opinion to determine whether or not what happened is politics or law.
Before I delve into the specifics of this your post made on the 20th of October, I want to know from you, now that you are coming into public office, how would you react to a post like this by any citizen of Ghana?
Mr. Chairman, I think that generally citizens have the right to air their views, and as far as it is not injurious to me, I will take it in good strides. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So let's deal with the paragraph that comes after the name Kwame Adibu Asiedu, JSC 2022. In other words, that paragraph that starts with another fact. Now, at the time you were doing this post, did you know the nature of the particular application you were referring to, which was filed? Did you know? You were a law student. Did you know the application that had been filed?
Mr. Chairman, if my memory serves me right, I think that it was an application to set aside a ruling by the Speaker of Parliament. I think so.
So, yes, rightly so. But what I'm saying is that the very nature of the application, had you cited it?
No, Mr. Chairman.
So, on the basis of not knowing the nature of the application, don't you think that describing the application as having been filed Friday, called same day, moved same day, with a detailed ruling, was basically born out of ignorance and also to mislead the public? Because you had not cited the application. You don't know what was filed, yet you put it out there questioning the conduct of the justices of the Supreme Court.
Mr. Chairman, I put it as another fact. If it so happens that that fact was wrong and that it was not an application filed and dealt with on the same day, then I think I got it wrong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, but let's situate it properly. And I just, for the purposes of education, I don't know the level of legal education thus far, because you say you are not done. But you know that in court, when you are filing a process to invoke the jurisdiction of the court, you can either go on notice or another way. You know that?
Yes, or ex parte.
Ex parte, correct. I wanted it to come from you. Now, you know how an ex parte application is dealt with, correct? At least.
The basics I know.
What is it? If you know, share. If you don't know, it's fine. I'll provide you that information. If you know, you can share. Whatever you know about, you can share.
Mr. Chairman, is where a party goes before the court.
Right.
Without the notice of the supposed party to the case.
Correct. So when you go, it means that you are invoking some agency, correct?
Yes.
Good. Therefore, there is nothing wrong with a court, for a court to hear you same day and determine the matter if you are going ex parte, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I agree with that.
Right. And at the time you posted this, you did not know whether the application was on notice or ex parte, correct?
Yes.
So I'm letting you know that this application was an ex parte application. And with what you've explained thus far, what do you say to this very paragraph of your post?
Mr. Chairman, if I'm allowed to seek leave and amend that paragraph.
Oh, this is a post you have on social media. So I'm just giving you the opportunity because now you are in public life. All right, the shoe has changed. So I just want you, in all fairness, what have you to say to this?
Mr. Chairman, if I knew that there was an ex parte application, probably that paragraph would have been put in another manner, not to create the impression of what the current paragraph seeks to create. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I appreciate that. Your next point, also note that, read it, your next paragraph, read it.
The last but one paragraph, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
Okay. Also note that the plaintiff is the minority leader and the MP for Efutu.
Okay, so stop there. As at the time you were writing this, was the plaintiff a minority leader? You had put at the top the facts, not emotions.
That was contentious.
The chairman, this is a
because there had been a rule. No, it's not a there was a ruling by the court of justice. The highest court of the land had made a determination. You are a law student. You want to join the noble profession. You want to be called to the bar and become a practitioner in our court and to defend human rights and the Constitution. I'm asking you, at the time you wrote this, was Afenyo Markin the minority leader? Or it was a political statement?
Mr. Chairman, there was a political twist to it. Thank you, Mr.
Chairman. We also defer to you as a minority leader. That's why we occupy majority seats.
So now, it is one thing saying that I would describe the majority leader, Afenyo Markin, as a minority leader. And another thing, writing the minority leader, Afenyo Markin, and having a caption fact. So, having come to the conclusion that you were doing a political twist, what have you to say to this paragraph?
Mr. Chairman, I want to take back the use of a minority leader I think that it was unfair to the Honorable MP for Efutu, who the court had ruled, setting aside the decision of the Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. We are done with that. Chair, please. Once we are going through this exercise gently, I mean, there is no contention. We can't drag matters. I mean, the jury is out there, and it's... Ernest, I'm not exacting a pound of flesh, just for you to know that I believe that the quality of mercy is not strained, and it always drops as a gentle rain from heaven upon the earth beneath. So don't worry. Is that okay? We are in this together, all right?
I'm fine.
Very well. So what you are reading now, what is before you now, was also one of your posts you did in 2019, August 22nd, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Please read the post aloud.
Mr. Chairman, this is a post I made on 22nd August 2019. Ghanaians will remember President Akufo-Addo for three things. One, stealing and corruption.
Okay, stay there. We'll pick step by step. Step by step. Brogya.
Leader.
At the time you made this post, had you any evidence of President Akufo-Addo involving any stealing? Because if you had said the Akufo-Addo government, that honorable member who has just joined Parliament, the greatest respect to you.
Honorable Minority Leader, just ignore and address the chair.
Yeah, Chairman, please. You and I are supposed to ensure order. Please. You're not a member of the committee. You're not a friend of the committee. Good conduct helps you to grow in politics. This thing is a learning process, so be here to learn. The post, if you had said the Akufo-Addo government, I'm a politician, you're a politician, you can make a general statement against a government, which is your bona fide, no problem. But I can say that there is corruption in the Mahama administration, a political statement. But if I go and say President Mahama has stolen, that's a different matter. And it is going directly at him. Or if I say Brogya Genfi will be remembered for stealing, that's a different matter. So I want to know from you that this very post, Akufo-Addo remembered for three things. One, stealing and corruption. Had you any evidence of any stealing by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the then president of Ghana, at the time you made this post?
Mr. Chairman, the post was actually in reference to the government of President Akufo-Addo. But I think that the government did not show up.
Brogya, I have the character reference from 3 important people. I have it here as part of the due diligence we did. They describe you as a very meticulous and diligent person. I have it here. I was going to read that to you as part of your virtues to encourage you in your ministry. Encourage you in your work as a deputy minister. You are very diligent and you are also meticulous. This post has been on your wall since 2019. We are in 2025, February 28. 28 February. You don't think that you can do better than what you've just said? You don't think you can do better than that? Thus far, you've done fairly well. Don't think that you can do better than this. You are now coming into public service. The man you described with these words turns 81 very soon. All right? He's human as you are. What have you to say to him? I know you can do better than this.
Mr. Chairman, we are all learning and growing in politics. I think that there is more room for improvement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, when you say, Ernest, when you say there is more room for improvement, are you making a general statement of more room for it? There is a specific matter related to you, and I need you to respond if you at all want to make amends. But don't make a sweeping statement, Mr. Chairman, we are learning, there's more room for improvement. For the time being, you are the one on oath, and there's a specific matter related to your post against the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I said, what do you say to that? And I know you can do better than this.
Mr. Chairman, what I mean is that the intent at the time was to refer to the government. And so once that was omitted and you drawing my attention to it, it tells me that we are growing and we can do better. I was not...
Therefore, it tells you that we are growing and we can do better. Therefore,
Mr. Chairman, therefore, given the opportunity, I would not put it as I did.
In other words, with the benefits of hindsight. Is that what you want to say?
Of course, Mr.
Okay, sure. So, on point 2 and 3, point 2 and 3, I take those as very political statement. I don't take it against you. You talk about family and friends, cronies, government. It's a political statement. 3, profligacy in government, political statement. I do not take it against you. However, don't you think that this statement, these 2 points you made, were just too much alike? Because in government today, you realize that there are families, relations, who by virtue of their role are getting appointment, correct?
Mr. Chairman, with the first part or the second part?
I'm dealing with the two together. Okay, so let's deal with the first one. I agree, you are right. Let's leave the third one, the last one out. Let's deal first with the family and friends in government. And let me put the question properly. That don't you think that you went rather too hard on the MPP government? Because in this government, there are families and friends, relations, by virtue of their very work they've done for the party, are getting appointment because they've worked for it.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I think that if the government is populated by family, friends, or cronies, you may want to look at it negatively. I think that people can express their opinions if that is what they perceive the government to be, by not impugning any ill motive. And if I have to take from, because the three things were in reference to the introduction, that Ghanaians will remember President Akufo-Addo for family, friends, cronies government. If it's established that there were family, friends in the government, I think that that's a matter of fact, and may not, once I did not really say they have done anything that is untoward or wrongly, then I think, leader, you may accept this one. Thank you.
We want him to counter.
So, but at the time you made this post, you used the word if the government is populated by family. Was it the case that the Akufo-Addo's government was populated by his family members? Is that what you are saying? And if we count all the appointees, all the ministers, and we say that count how many of his family members were in, the context you put it, populated, was that the case?
Mr. Chairman, in all honesty, I don't know, and I could not have known all members of the Akufo-Addo government, but at least I knew a couple of family members who were in the government.
And you know a couple of family and friends in this government as well, correct? If you don't know, should I furnish you? Or you do, but you are making a political statement. I mean, let's be fair to the facts. Let's be fair to the facts. Yes, I've put the question. I mean, answer and let's go, whichever way you want to look at it.
Mr. Chairman,
were you making a political statement? You should confirm.
Mr. Chairman, which one do I answer first?
Okay, it's okay. Let's go,
Mr. Chairman.
Ernest, what at all from this post, what at all was your problem with the Chief Justice of the Republic? Tell us, what at all was your personal problem with the Chief Justice of the Republic?
Mr. Chairman, I have no problem with the Chief Justice.
Was there any discretionary power she had exercised that you had a problem with, which you considered capricious and whimsical?
Mr. Chairman, from this post, I didn't consider any decision or the exercise of discretion by the Chief Justice which was capricious, not at all, from what I see here.
Ernest, you tag the person Chief Justice and Minister of Justice. Then you proceed with Article 296. My question to you is that, to what was this post for?
Mr. Chairman, I was...
Statement. Was it a political statement so that we make progress? Was it a political statement?
Mr. Chairman, I was quoting the Constitution.
Fair enough. Move to the next. Move to the next one. The one you posted 20th July 2017.
Mr. Chairman, this was a political statement.
It was a political statement.
Yes.
So nothing was cooked at the MPP headquarters?
No.
Chairman, that will be all for the nominee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Patrick Yabwama.
Chairman, thank you. Let me congratulate the gentleman from Swami and to wish him well. You've come very far with your friends Dodo V and Co. Regulars at City Hotel going to live in Kumasi. You are going to be working with Dr. Omani Boama, a gentleman you know. And I want to believe that you've studied him from the party headquarters. The Afari project you spoke about, you know when it started, how the financing was secured. I'm sure you know. At what stage is the project and how much money do you think the NDC administration needs to look for to complete the project? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have all the details, but I know that it's an advanced stage of completion.
And will you be contesting the Swami seat in 2028?
Mr. Chairman, I have no such intentions, but I am advised that in politics, never say never.
I hear you. But just to wish you well, I don't have any further question for you. And go and make Otumfuo proud and Asante proud. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Patrick Yabwama. Well, Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaibu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, my name, I'm sure I have to come and see you so that you get it right. Congratulations. Is it Brogya? Brogya. Oh, okay.
Poking fire.
Pardon?
Poking fire.
Poking fire. Oh, okay, so there's a reason. Okay. So I read on, yes, there is. I'll tell Chairman. Chairman, right now I'm not in the hot seat. I'll tell you. But yeah, so I read on CTFM's online portal that you had made a statement with reference to or in respect of the elections, and had particularly said that the police were on the side of the MPP and they were sneaking in some special people, including Honorable Arnaud Dompre. Do you remember that?
Mr. Chairman, if something related to Honorable Arnaud Dompre, then it must have been after the elections.
Yes, I said 13th December.
Yes, I remember.
So my question now is that you're going in as Deputy Minister of Defense. Do you still have a posture that the police or any security agency can be on the side of one group of persons like a party?
Mr. Chairman, these are general perception that parties in opposition usually would have, but I'm guided by the introduction to your question. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, so just a follow-up. I just want to find out from you, do you still hold same perception?
Mr. Chairman, the NDC is in government now. Oh, I really don't get the kind of perception you are talking about, whether or not it is about opposition parties or in reference to Honorable Anodompe.
In reference to the fact that the security agencies largely are on the side of a particular group.
Mr. Chairman, there are bad nuts in every institution, and the action of one may be interpreted to mean the position of the entire institution.
So, Chair, now I'm just, because I think it's the same thing, so I'm only asking, so what is your current interpretation of your perception?
Mr. Chairman, what happened on that day gave cause to that perception. Without it, I don't hold that perception. Thank you.
Thank you. So my second question. I heard the President talk about national service yesterday and also made reference to the fact that in respect, Chairman, are you saying this be next? And made reference to the fact that, no, if it's been asked, I don't think it's okay for me to proceed because I was watching it. Let me just change the question. Let me just change the question for you. Do you understand what is meant by recidivism?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman.
Can you please tell us?
It's about people who have been punished for a cause, who come back to do the same old thing, to gain that or similar punishment.
So, do you still have your issue with the now Minister of Youth, is it Youth Development, Pablo? Do you still have your legal issues with him, and what necessitated that?
Mr. Chairman, that issue was dealt with long ago.
Okay, I wish you very well, and I pray you go and succeed. The Honorable Omani Buama is a calm guy, so please, don't go and disturb his peace.
Honorable Alassane Numa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. My good brother and comrade, congratulations.
Thank you.
I have no doubt in your capacity, except that your minister is very detailed. So any paper you're going to present to him, make sure you cross the T's and dot the I's. My question is about how will you help the minister to depoliticize the military or Ghana Armed Forces from the current or the trend of political dispensation, military not coming to parliament, and military not terrorizing, military politicians not using them to harass people? This is what I want to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, on the matter of my boss, I know that he's very diligent, and if I know a few people who pay attention to details. I think that he will be the first person I will mention. So going to the ministry, I'm clearing my mind. And having worked with him in the past, I know how I will assist in his duties. Mr. Chairman, the Ghana Armed Forces is highly professional. But sometimes, as you said, people who wield political influence may try to use other members for their own political gains. What I think should be done is to ensure that they maintain the high standards of professionalism that we know the Ghana Armed Forces to be. And I'll be at the ministry to assist my minister to just do that, so that the issues of some of the things that are said or seen are avoided. If the military is deployed to undertake an exercise or a duty, they must work, in accordance with that. You may detail a military officer for some duties to a VVIP. If that officer is professional, he knows his job, he knows what he has to do, not to carry files or bags and all that. So if we encourage high standards of professionalism, I am sure that the politicization, as whether it's real or perceived, will be dealt with. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. My last is it's an appeal to convince and suggest to the minister regarding the training and putting on board, the national service. Zabzugu constituency has big land that we can house them. All the training to happen in Zabzugu constituency. Thank you very much, and I wish you well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I love Zabzugu, so we'll come there.
Thank you. I'll give the floor to the Vice Chairman.
Comrade.
Yes, our leader.
Congratulations. Let me just draw your mind to Article 79 and 1 of the Constitution. The President may, in consultation with a Minister of State and with a prior approval of Parliament, appoint 1 or 2 deputy ministers to assist the minister in the performance of his functions. The word assist is what I'm trying to hammer on. So it is clear what your job as a deputy minister is, and that is to assist your minister in the performance of his functions. So you are not a policymaker, as I'm sure you are very clear with. You are actually to follow a policy direction directed by your minister. So what I have seen here is that you're a good listener, or what I've known you to be. You're a good listener. So for you to be able to take instructions, you must be a good listener to take the right instruction and execute exactly what your minister wants you to do. Humility is also part of it. And then, of course, having the ability to do what your minister will ask you to do. Then the minister may ask for your advice. It is all assisting the minister. So your job is straightforward. And I don't actually like asking deputy ministers questions. I ask the minister's policy questions, but not the deputy minister. Because once you demonstrate that you can assist your minister to execute his duties or her duties, if it happens to be, it's for me a good background and skills, especially the listening part, to be able to do your work. I have over the years seen the work that you have done or how you work in the party, and I have no doubt in my mind that you will do exactly that. On that note, I would like to congratulate you again and wish you all the best. Thank you.
It's now the turn of
Thank you, Leader.
Patricia Apiaje, Deputy Ranking.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Dominic, congratulations.
Thank you, Mama Pat.
I sit here and I've been listening to all your utterances that you've made over the period. If I look at your CV, I can really tell exactly when you were born. But you've taken the path of politics, and you are going to a very sensitive area, like the Ministry of Defense, where discipline is of utmost what is the concern to the whole establishment. I know that there are people who describe you, they see you as having been involved in all kinds of public controversies. And that is my very concern here, especially with the ministry that you are going to. Do you think we are justified by indicating that you are someone who is always involved in several public controversies? Do you think it's aptly the description of your personality?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as I stated earlier, I am an activist, and I think that we must encourage civil activism. Unfortunately, on my part, many of the issues I take on become controversial. And so it may have created that perception, but I don't think that civil activism is anything that should be discouraged. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you just bluntly describe this, some of your utterances as just civil activism? Let me give you a typical example of some of the statements that you make. You remember on the in August 2023, you alleged that a top police official, COP Mensah, intended to contest the Kwai parliamentary seat on the MPP ticket. And you were raising concerns, and your concerns was about politicization of the security agencies. Can you bluntly say that? Because we can equally point finger at the NDC side, where police officers left their office to stand in the name of the party. Do you think it's a fair statement to this? No, it's you had heard that.
Mr. Chairman, I think I remember that post, and it was in reference to a COP Mensah. I think the one that had issue with the IGP. Subsequently, he contested for the primaries but failed. Yes, I think that I was, because my roots are in the Ashanti region, I had picked the signals that he wanted to contest. And so I think the post was in reference to that. But as to whether or not that will be generalized to say that that means the police service has been politicized, I think that one, if I haven't really seen the post, but if I made a categorical statement, then I think that I got that one wrong. Thank you.
Very much. I see you as a very young, promising man. And it is important that we elect you for some of these things to ensure that when you are given a public position, you have to be very mindful of your utterances. I don't have any more questions for you. I just want you to caution you. Today, remember me seated here. Because of where you are coming from, I'm interested in your progression, in your development, and everything that you do. So remember that I want to commend you for being. So I wish you all the best. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I am reliably informed that Asokwa and Swami, they are very close. They are twin constituencies. Honorable Brogya Genfi, Deputy Minister Designate for Defense. We've come a long way. I know your pedigree. I have no question for you, but to acknowledge your revered guest seated behind you, giving you moral support. First on my list is Nana Apao, Wiafi Ababio, Samwansa. Okay. Chief of Himan and representative of Otumfo. Nana Bafo Kote Kutin, Shaman II, Chief of Brema and representative of Otumfo. Mrs. Frima Brogya Genfi, spouse of the nominee. Okpekpe Togbigan Dagadu, the knife. Akpini Fia, Paramount Chief of Akpini Traditional Area. We also have Nana Domfe Genfi. We have Madam Gladys Jechi, mother of the nominee. We have Kofi Bijabin Genfi Afti. We have lawyer Barbara Sawa Asamoah, Deputy General Secretary, NDC. We have Osaberima Apao Bonsie Bonsu, the second, Paramount Chief of Amantin Traditional Area. We have Vincent Senam Kwagbanu, Chief Executive, Community Water and Sanitation. We have Chief Alhaji Ibrahim Abdul Rahman, Ashanti Regional Moshi Chief and Acting Ashanti Regional Zongo Chief. We have Nana Akosua Achian Sempe, Otumfo's traditional wife and Chief of Sasaboho. I did well. We have Nana Kap Genfi, Otumfo's Pinchem Donko. We have Madam Mary Fati Kaba. And I have seen the Honorable Minister for Defense also here. You are all welcome. Well, Ashanti Regional Chairman, you are welcome. But don't blame me, I'm going by the name that I have. Honorable Regional Minister, from where I'm sitting, it's difficult to identify everybody. So you are all welcome. We are most grateful for you coming to give moral support to the nominee seated before us. Honorable nominee, you hear from the committee and you are accordingly discharged. Thank you for coming. Honorable members, wait.